Fermi paradox have been a concept that I didn't understand why have been called a paradox until recently. After all, a paradox is said for things that are more concrete. What's so paradoxical about this? But then I found that it wasn't like that. So what is the Fermi paradox? Enrico Fermi, asking his colleagues, "Where is everyone?" in 1950 is called the Fermi paradox. When he says "where is everyone," he means aliens basically. What? Why? A guy asks why aliens haven't shown up. So what? Who knows why they aren't here, you might ask. But think of it this way. There are many stars in space. Even some of these stars to have planets around them, and some of those planets to harbor life on them. Considering the 13.8 billion years of age of the universe must be overflowing with life. But how do you know it isn't, you might ask? That's correct, we don't. Perhaps space is filled with life, and we just haven't discovered that yet. After all, we may not be able to see the living things living on the things that look like tiny dots in the sky. Why would anyone make a problem out of this, you might ask? But that's not quite the case. Not one of a million of life in the universe, not one of a billion life in the universe, even if 1 out of a trillion life in the universe is intelligent life, the universe must still have billions of intelligent life just like us. Because in the universe there are 2 trillion galaxies, and each galaxy has, give or take, 200 billion stars in them. So, considering the age of the universe, no matter how hard space travel is, even a single civilization will colonize the galaxy it was born in it, and it should have constructs all around space that clearly shows its presence. But for 70 years, we have been listening space with radio telescopes, and so far we haven't gathered any signal that cannot be explained with a natural phenomena. We have only gathered one signal once, a signal known as the wow signal, but we haven't gathered any other similar signals from the direction it came from. So it may not be very true to point this as a sign that aliens do exist. By the way, the Italian scientist Enrico Fermi that gave Fermi paradox its name is not someone known just for that. He's also the same person that gave particle accelerator in US, the Fermi lab, its name, and also the person that gave type of particles, the fermions, its name. When this question was first asked, scientists and science fiction authors continuously thought about that idea. Right now, there are over 100 ideas or possible solutions proposed for Fermi paradox. Everyone has favorite ideas that sound logical to them, but not one or a few of them have yet fully satisfied everyone so far. So let's list a few of those types of solutions just to give you some idea. Aliens may be lacking interest. They may lack a sense of curiosity. They may not know mathematics. Aliens might just like their home too much and never want to discover outside. Aliens may just be watching us. They may find us too primitive. They may think that we have a destructive nature. Aliens may have a ban for communicating with civilizations that cannot yet travel across vast distances in space. There may be a very advanced alien species that lurks in space that may be wiping all civilization, say every 50,000 years, for some unknown reason. We may be living in a simulation. They may have come and gone before humans walked the earth. Civilizations that reach a certain level of technology may be destroying themselves. Civilizations that reach a certain level of technology may get destroyed by artificial intelligence they create. For life to evolve into multicellular life may just be too hard. Except for that last one, none of these proposed solutions can explain exceptions to those ideas, or those ideas may be completely false. For example, an intelligent species that lacks a sense of curiosity is either likely non-existent or an exception. An intelligent species that's not interested in space may still have some percentage of them that will want to spread into space for personal gains. After all, space has virtually unlimited amount of energy and resources available. Any civilization that seeks advancement will want to expand into space. Loving your home for this reason, For any civilization that puts logic above their emotions is unlikely a reason to remain put. For an alien species that finds us too primitive, we'll still have members that are interested in science. They may want to examine us and our world for scientific reasons, or some groups may breach such a thing. The same thing applies for a communication ban. And if a super advanced civilization does wipe everyone every once in a while, then we should see some evidence for that. The idea that we may be living inside a simulation, on the other hand, may not be proven right or wrong. But we may have some ideas about the reality that simulates us. For example, if that reality has the same rules as ours, so if quantum mechanics is fundamental in such a reality, then to simulate the universe we live in, a computer the size of this universe would be required. Or if most of the universe we see is an illusion and only our world is simulated, then not a computer the size of the universe, but a computer the size of the Earth will be required. If the reality that simulates us has different rules, then anything is possible. For aliens to come and go before us would still have us expect them to leave some marks, constructs behind them. And if they did leave marks and those marks just vanished, then any being that can easily travel across space should also have left other marks behind them. Or they will have a lot of planets that they have colonized, and we haven't seen anything like that yet. We can even go further with this idea and say that we ourselves may be a colony of such space-traveling civilizations. But then we would ask, why wouldn't anyone come back to see how we're doing? Civilizations to destroy themselves is not something that will happen without an exception. Not every intelligence will be equally aggressive. And of course, if such a civilization gets to be destroyed by an artificial intelligence they create, then we will expect that artificial intelligence to spread out to space. We haven't seen any robots or machines so far out in space. So if not any of those, then what? If you ask me, first of all, I would say we must know that what is the frequency for life existing throughout space? We haven't found any life so far outside our planet. We will probably find one soon. But to discover multicellular life may take a long time. When we think about extraterrestrial life, we often think about multicellular life, such as plants and animals. But we don't think about intelligent life, not at least outside of science fiction. But on Earth, for life to switch to multicellular from single-cell life took a very long time. Perhaps the universe is indeed filled with life, but most of that may be single-cell life. So this may be one of those things we call a great filter. Another great filter can be, of course, the intelligent life itself. On Earth, there's literally millions of life, and yet only a handful of those have reached to a point we call intelligent. And as of now, only a single civilization building intelligence is maintaining its existence, us humans. This is because intelligence is not the final stage of an evolution. Evolution is about survival, and considering no other life is as smart as we are, you can see that intelligence is very rarely is an attribute that is required for survival. But looking at the current data, the essence of the paradox still haunts us in some way. Only within our galaxy, 100 billion stars exist. Within the last few years, with the observations made with the Kepler Space Telescope, we have seen that roughly every star we look at has at least one planet that orbits around its main star. So there are at least 100 billion planets only within our galaxy. If only 10% of those are Earth-like, this means 10 billion possibilities for intelligent life to exist. But great filters or great obstacles exist to explain such things. Yeah, the possibility is incredibly high, but perhaps these obstacles, these stages are so steep that even 10 billion possibilities within our galaxy doesn't result into life that builds civilizations all across the galaxy. But if we interpret our situation based on law of averages, our presence may point to a situation of average. For example, in the past, we have thought sun-like stars may rarely have Earth-like planets. But with each discovery, we have seen that this is in fact a common thing. We have discovered many planets with Kepler's Space Telescope. As gas giants are easiest to find, we have found a lot of them. But we have also discovered a lot of planets we call super-Earths, Earth-like rocky planets, perhaps with oceans. A sizable amount of stars within our galaxy are also similar to Sun. Most of the elements required for life we know is also the elements that are most abundant in space. But if stars that are good for life, planets that are good for life, and even life itself is common, we do know intelligent life is, give or take, a rare thing. Humanity exists on this earth for 300,000 years. This is a funny amount of time when compared to 13.8 billion years of age of the universe. Our own galaxy is as nearly old as the universe at 13.2 billion years. Even if life to evolve within the first few billion years after the universe began was impossible, we still have 10 billion years or perhaps more time for life to evolve. Between 10 billion years ago and now, any intelligent species that arose may have spread into its own galaxy within a very short amount of time of 1 to 2 million years compared to the age of the universe. Once you can travel across space, it will take relatively little time to colonize a galaxy. So this should have already happened. When we raised our heads and looked around 300,000 years ago, we must have seen everywhere, on Earth, on sky, on moon, on Mars, artificial, strange, advanced constructs. The weirder thing is that we have made this calculation for a single civilization, and for a near past, 3, 5, or 10 civilizations to evolve within any time of that 10 billion years. Perhaps more than a single species must have colonized everywhere around our galaxy. But we haven't seen any of that. As we haven't seen any of that, we haven't seen anything around anywhere, far or near a planet or a star we have looked. It may not be said that we have looked thoroughly enough. We may not have very good tools yet, but we have been looking for some time now, and we haven't found the singlest clue. So if the universe is so big and old, where is everyone?